Ejìogbè returns to heaven for judgment. Before he made his sacrifice, the elders, who felt that he had blocked their means of livelihood by performing miracles for free, began to go to heaven one by one to report to God. They accused him of ruining the world by introducing a new code of conduct, which was totally unknown to the earth. Ejìogbè, on his part, had no life of his own because he spent all his time serving others. When children had convulsions, he was called to cure them, which he did through enchantment. He helped pregnant women give birth, settled disputes between people, and defended the oppressed. Little did he know that these humanitarian activities had annoyed the traditionally unjust Awosis to the point of conspiring to kill him. At this point, Olodumare Osalobua in Bini, the Father of Heaven, ordered that Ejìogbè be found. He sent a knight from heaven to fetch him. The knight used his prudence to devise a strategy to bring Ejìogbè to heaven. Before arriving at Ejìogbè's house, he took off his knight's uniform, stored it in his bag, and pretended to be an unemployed man in search of work. Arriving where Ejìogbè was very early in the morning, he begged him for any domestic job that would allow him to earn a living. Ejìogbè informed him that he had no job to offer, as his own occupation was to provide free services to the people of the world. When the visitor arrived, Ejìogbè was about to have breakfast. He invited him to eat with him, but the man explained that he did not meet the requirements to eat from the same plate as Ejìogbè. The visitor insisted that he would eat whatever was left after Ejìogbè had eaten. While this discussion was taking place, some visitors arrived seeking help. They said that the only son of a family was having convulsions and wished for Ejìogbè to go and revive the boy. Without eating, he left, followed by the knight from heaven, arrived at the house, placed his left knee on the ground, and repeated an enchantment, after which he pronounced the boy's name 3 times, and each time the boy responded. The boy then sneezed, opened his eyes, and asked for food. As he was finishing the healing operation, other visitors approached him, pleading for help with a woman who had been in labor pains all night. He went straight to the woman's house, who was on her last breath. He quickly divined for her husband and assured the people that the woman would give birth without problems. He gave her a yerosun, divination powder, and water to drink. As she swallowed the water, he repeated an enchantment, and the child, along with the placenta, came out at the same moment. There was general joy in the house, and as usual, he left without demanding any compensation. Ejìogbè and his visitor returned home. By this time, it was well past midday, and he had not yet had breakfast. As they were approaching the house, he encountered a large crowd waiting for him. There was a major dispute they wanted him to resolve. Gradually, he resolved all the disputes, and the people happily returned to their respective homes and reconciled. He sat down to eat the meal prepared for him and again invited the visitor, who insisted on eating after him. As he was beginning to eat, the visitor went to the adjacent room and put on his knight's clothing. The sight of the man in celestial garments indicated to Ejìogbè that this was a divine messenger from heaven. He immediately stopped eating and asked him about the message he brought. At that point, the man informed him that God wished for him to come to heaven immediately. Ejìogbè quickly dressed and departed for heaven with the celestial envoy. As soon as they were outside the village, the knight embraced him, and almost instantaneously, they both found themselves in the palace of God. Upon arrival, God asked for Omonigorobo, the celestial name of Ejìogbè, before he departed for the world, to give an explanation for having created so much confusion in the world to the point of bothering the other divinities on earth. Omonigorobo knelt down to offer an explanation, but before he could speak, the messenger who had been sent to fetch him offered to explain on his behalf. The knight explained that the Almighty Father himself could not have done what Omonigorobo was doing on earth. He recounted how from the early hours of the morning, Omonigorobo had not even had time to eat properly because he was at the service of humanity without receiving any type of compensation. The messenger explained that it was his attempt to behave on earth as they did in heaven that annoyed the money-loving divinities on earth.